Jasmine, would you call the roll, please?
Tim Dean, Mark Doyle,
Here.
Kathy Bauer.
Here.
Amy Bondieri.
Here.
James McCone.
Here.
Deidre Houston.
Okay. Are there any conflict of interest disclosures? Meeting notice went out.
Yes.
Good time. Bills and communications, none.
None.
Thank you. And approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at them. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. Will you take a roll quickly? Nancy?
Mark Doyle,
Approved?
Kathy Bauer. Amy
Approve.
Bondieri.
Approve.
James McCone.
Approved.
All right. We're going to go straight to new business and come back to the reports. So the first item is for consideration and approval of a preliminary resolution for the POU Development LLC in the town of Wappingers to induce a project providing for a mortgage tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and a payment in lieu of taxes for approximately $25,807,130 for project construction and development of hangars at the Hudson Valley Regional Airport. So,
Yeah. So, basically, as you said, Mark, is this morning we have POU Development joining us via Zoom. We have Neil Seismack and Jonathan Lee. They are requesting IDA benefits in the form of sales tax exemptions, a mortgage recording tax exemption, and a DBA pilot to build hangars at the Dutchess Regional Airport. We also have Ron Hicks here, who can give a brief background history of the project. And we also have Supervisor Dr. Dwight Bonk from the Wappinger School District, also here to show his support for the project.
thank you very much to all of you for joining us and interested to hear the project.
Ron, do you want to give a little background brief?
Yeah, and I know you're pressed for time, so it just cut me when you need to. You all know that we've been focusing for the last 8 to 10 years on real skill development, new job opportunities for our residents. And one of them was to go into the aviation industry and take advantage of the fact that we had an airport and tenants that have need for aircraft mechanics, et cetera. So we partnered with Dutchess Community College to build the Aviation Science Center, which you're well aware of. It's a huge success. And then the county, in continuance of that pipeline, invested a great deal of money into the airport to create a shovel-ready site. Originally, I think it was about 36,000 square feet. We had intended to have a private entity build hangars there and attract storage and maintenance space, or at least partners for our community college and to provide job opportunities to the students graduating from the school. During our process, as we were wrapping up our shovel-ready project, our airport director ran into, I believe, Neil, at a National Business Aviation Association event. They expressed a strong interest in our airport and subsequently have gone well beyond the footprint that we made shovel-ready to now invest to create up to 100,000 square feet of hangar space. I'll let the experts speak to it, but each aircraft can bring anywhere from 2 to 8 jobs, depending on what is actually done in the individual hangar space. I will let you know that this is the capstone to our Pipelines to Jobs program for aviation. Some of the constraints that we have at this airport right now are the lease terms. New York State limits the number of years that a private developer can lease airports that they don't own and operate. New York State allows an additional 10 years. New York State also provides full tax exemptions to any entity, even private enterprises, on their owned and operated airports, where county airports and all others have to collect taxes. So we're at a bit of a competitive disadvantage. And then we have to deal with our surrounding states like New Jersey and Connecticut, who are also wholly exempt. So what Sky Harbor has proposed here is to come in and get the sales tax abatement for this significant investment, as well as what I think is a very fair and minimal pilot for this development, which is 10 years. Keep in mind, this land right now is grass. It does cost us to cut that grass and has not generated any economic benefit to our community or our airport. So we're developing on green space that currently isn't getting any or generating any revenue whatsoever. And here we have this developer who's investing a significant amount of money, creating construction jobs, creating full-time permanent jobs, and then providing revenue to the taxing jurisdictions for under what is the conditional agreement of a 40-year lease. I think that covers it. And we also have with us the town of Wappingers supervisor, Joseph Cavassini, who also happened to be on the legislature as we were developing this pipeline and the county was investing in our airport and our aviation science center. That's it.
Very good. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Jonathan Lee. I'm an associate at Sky Harbor Group. Actually went to West Point, so right around the corner. Spent about 8 years in the military as an aviator before joining the team, and I'll let Neil give an intro, and then we'll talk a little bit about the project.
Hey, team. And Ron, just thanks for that great intro. Ron, you've been great to work with over the past 18 months as we've been launching this project forward. Like John said, so I'm Neil Simzek, Vice President of Real Estate at the Sky Harbor Group. And yeah, we're excited investing in the Hudson Valley. And I think John has a couple of slides he's going to share, walk you through the project, bring it to life a little bit more, and then we'd be happy to answer questions.
And give me 1 second. Hopefully everyone is seeing these slides right now.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Oh, there we go. All right. A little bit about Sky Harbor Group. Our product is Aviation's home base, very culturally diverse and professional organization. A lot of experienced aviators working on airports. So we've got projects all over the country. This would be basically our first one in New York, which is a pretty big deal. And a lot of military aviators on the team, myself and Neil. And one of the big things that we like to do, and you see there at the very bottom, locally sourced training program, the Sky Harbor Academy. So really excited to build the project, but also excited to give back to the community in the form of a training program that, to Ron's point, helps out with the training for individual line service technicians. So it basically takes individuals from marginalized communities, veterans that are transitioning out of the military, and trains them up to become line service technicians, work in business aviation. As far as our financing is concerned, we're a publicly traded company, so no financing contingency here, and relatively well capitalized and able to develop and build, but also at the same time, just given some of the constraints that exist on the airport, as Ron mentioned, the lease terms, we are building in an area that doesn't necessarily have a strong demand. There is a little bit of a challenge here, just in making sure we can get this project across the finish line and bring all of these benefits to the local community. Project details. So it's 80 to 120,000 square feet. Right now, we have 2 different sites. One, we're awaiting approval by the FAA just to mitigate a line of sight issue. So it could be 80,000, could be 120,000, but with that comes an investment of somewhere between 40 and $60 million. The construction job numbers are very robust, about 120. And then tenant-based jobs, once we get aircraft into this facility, these aircraft are likely coming from other airports, right? The Teterboroughs of the world, where there's a huge shortage of hangar space. And so those jobs are going to move into Dutchess County. Additionally, we have 7 potential direct employees as well, 1 manager and a couple of line service technicians. And then we also have the academy that we just mentioned. And you can see the job description there. There is a significant demand for this product. There's a huge shortage of square footage in the New York metropolitan area. And I know there was a little bit of question about where the site is specifically. So I've created a map. You can see the north site and the south site. And Neil, if you wanted to give a little bit more detail on the specifics of the project, I know you're very, very familiar.
Yeah. So the north site, we are getting close to getting final DEC approval for some environmental issues. That's about 60,000 square feet on the north site. That piece of the project is moving fast. The south site, we're still working with the FAA. That's about another 35,000 square feet on the south site. There is a line of sight issue with the tower. So we're going through a study with the FAA to show that it doesn't actually impede the view from the tower to the runway and to the approach end. And so that's looking good, but again, it might take several months to get final approval to move forward with that area of the project. But like John said, a lot of demand for the product, and I will say that this IDA would be critical for us just because, as everyone knows, the cost of raw materials in the past 5 years post-COVID has really accelerated. Both of these sites are, we consider them green field, so require grading, utilities, stormwater management systems that make them quite expensive. Neither of them can really be considered truly pad ready. So this IDA support, I think, is critical for making the project a success and moving forward quickly at the airport. But we anticipate that this will bring anywhere from 12 to 15 business jets to their associated jobs to the airport. It'll be an economic engine for growth in the area.
And appreciate it, Neil. And then lastly, this is kind of an illustrative rendering of what our general product looks like. Really relatively large hangar facilities and room for a number of aircraft. And to Neil's point, significant number of jobs. But again, IDA support is very critical, just given that we do have projects in a number of other location states that are competing for some of the capital that we have available. So appreciate everyone's time and happy to answer any questions about the project.
Thank you very much. That sounds like a really exciting investment in Dutchess County. Does anybody on the board or anyone else have questions? Would you like to speak, sir?
Yeah, certainly. The school district is in full support of this. It's another opportunity for economic development within our district, which provides jobs and opportunities not only for individuals currently in the workforce, but also those that are going through our school district. And we have linked up with the county and Dutchess Community College, and we work with our municipalities with working together and collaboratively to prepare today's students for tomorrow's workforce. So I think at some point, these types of opportunities will filter down to our students, which will give our students an opportunity to continue to remain in Dutchess County, continue to live in our community, work in our community, and support their families. School district is 100% supportive of it. Thank you.
Excellent.
If I may, from a town of Wappinger perspective, thank you for having us here. I humbly say that this is a perfect example of innovative development in this county. The perfect example. When I served in the county legislature working with Ron conceptually on this project, we knew that this is the type of project we would want in the town of Wappinger and we would want in the airport. We have to remember too, the goal of the Hudson Valley Regional Airport right now is to become an executive style airport. We're not looking to have commuter traffic anymore. Town of Wappinger currently is hindered by smaller biplanes buzzing around our homes right now. So facilitating a development like this for the private jet aircraft that is coming in for the larger jet aircraft, not only again is helping the quality of life of the town of Wappinger, it's an innovative development that we want. It is, again, following along with our vision of creating jobs and that pipeline, the blue collar jobs that we fought to do out at DCC at Hudson Valley Regional Airport. So the town of Wappinger, we are 100% behind this. I don't believe that the county has paid the town of Wappinger or anyone tax dollars on that land since 1937. So any sort of revenue that comes in to the town of Wappinger and to the school district is greatly appreciated. And again, the larger scope, the larger impact of economic development. This is a positive. Thank you.
Very good. Jamie.
No, I just had, looking at the footprint of the airport, we're not cramming these hangars into this area. It looks like the footprint's large enough. I don't know how many acres the airport is or what percentage of these hangars will take up space, because they had the one question about the control tower in that one hangar to the south, I think. So.
Are you able to bring up the slide on the aerial again?
I know there's a decent amount of land.
Development site represents less than 1% of the total land.
Wow.
Not total aviation. But when we did a economic development analysis of this and a master plan, I think we had identified 12 developable acres. So Here you have Dutchess Community College's Aviation Science Center, and this is where this one is going to go. This is completely unused land. Over here, we had intended to do it right on that grass patch, but what we're doing is we're extending it into the tie downs because they want to do a larger facility. We don't want, as the supervisor said, we don't want to become too active. But what we want to do is have the highest and best use. So there will be redevelopment opportunities over on this side. Forgive me for anybody watching this I'm standing in front of the camera. Over here, there are tie downs and some unused space. And then this space over here is in really bad shape. And we will likely redevelop that over time. There's a PFAS issue that we're contending with right now that is costing us a fortune. So we're taking baby steps, but there are opportunities to do additional development. Sightline will be resolved at some point. And then over here, there is some room where there's a parking lot for us to do additional work. But we don't want to overbuild the airport. We don't want to overburden the community. This is a perfect match because this is not like a commuter airline where these planes are going to be coming in and out on a regular basis. They'll be coming in, they'll be repositioning, they'll be staying. A lot of the planes, a lot of these aircraft that will probably go into this space are already visiting our airport. I know 2 of the leads live here, but they position their airport here when they need to pick someone up or drop somebody off. Otherwise, they're in Teterboro or Waterbury, Oxford, or somewhere else. In one case, it was Morristown.
Sorry to cut you off, Ron. We're on a bit of a timeline here. So I know that in general, I get the sense that we're very much in favor. So what I'd like to do is see if we can take a vote right now. And this is a inducement. It's the initial resolution.
Yeah.
So if I can have a motion.
I'll make a motion to vote on the preliminary resolution for the PLU development at the airport.
I'll second.
Thank you. Would you like to call the roll for the vote, please, Jasmine?
Mark Doyle,
Approve.
Kathy Bauer.
Approved.
Amy Bondieri.
Approved.
Jane McCone.
Approve.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Sorry
I'm
about
trying to
that.
cut short.
I'll be back.
About to lose our
quorum.
quorum here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Very nice to
Thank
see
you.
all of you.
Thank you.
Have a
Good
great
seeing you.
week. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sarah.
We'll see you at the groundbreaking.
All right.
Looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
To you, my
Take
friend.
care.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so Amy Bombadiri had to leave for a personal reason, but she will return after 9:15. So I think we'll proceed with the presentation portion of the meetings, and once Amy returns, we will vote on those.
Go on and see where we're at.
Yeah.
So we can,
Okay.
let's just progress. Okay, so Duchess.
You want to do the financial report?
Oh, we should get back to the.
I know you're so excited to hear.
Yeah. Always. So, your treasurer's reports.
treasurer
financial
report. Okay. Looking at the balance sheet for January 31st, 2025 for the IDA, we have 2.9 million in cash. We have a accrued liability of 13,900 for the audit. And that's pretty much for the balance sheet. And then looking at the P&L, we have revenue of 32,000 to a budget of 309,000. So right now we're unfavorable by 277,000. We have expenses of 2,000 to a budget of 747,000. So we're favorable by 745,000. We have net income of 30,000 to a budgeted net loss of 438,000. So right now we're favorable by 468,000. Not much activity for January. A little slow. So majority of the compliance fees are the revenue right now for January.
Thank you. All right. Oh, getting myself buried here. All right, and so, are there any committee reports? And now,
Yeah, I'm sorry to kill so many trees but our team does a lot of great work, and it's my pleasure to highlight that the work of that group of folks in our office, but also our partners in the work that we do together. If you want to start with the IDA, the quarterly report, there's just a couple things I wanted to highlight on that for you on page 2 of the quarterly. Looking at our social media, the growth has been exponential. One of the things that we had talked about in past meetings is YouTube as an opportunity for us where we didn't have money to spend this year. We have a joint EDA grant with other partners in Sullivan Catskills and Central New York to also do international marketing. So we were able to shift some of that and then put some money into that YouTube at the end of the year to great results. We had a number of significant campaigns, including we promoted our small towns, our quaint towns, and shopping for Small Business Saturday to try to get people out and visiting and spending their money, doing their holiday shopping. We did a digital campaign in the subways in the New York City transit system to promote winter getaways. So thinking about, it's the holidays now, but think about January, February. In line with that, we brought back Hotel Week for the first time since 2019, and looking at our data from our tracking in terms of bookings, a real plateau and what that looked like for that 2 weeks. So it just ended Sunday. We don't have full results from that campaign yet, but looking at, we had 15 hotels offer $99 a night for those 2 weeks. It's a slow time of year. When we went back to our lodging partners we do 3 roundtables a year and said, hey, we're thinking about this. Are you interested in participating? What do you think about the pricing? They all said, we can do $99. And so everything from the brand new Heartwood and the Inn at Belfield and Curry Estates to your Hampton Inns, your Holiday Inns, some of the other smaller ones, the Beekman Arms joined in, they got in on it. So really great packages for people to come, hopefully spend a little less on their stays and more in our restaurants and shops and other things. So looking forward to having final numbers for that, but that was a really strong campaign. Also promoting our Christmas tree farms and spending the holidays in Dutchess, all the great estates, the tree lightings, all the things that make Dutchess County special in the winter. So really good campaigns. We also partnered with Wheel the World on accessibility. That was funding through the county, but using it to promote not only to visitors, but we created a video and we can share links to that with you for some influencers we had come in, 2 people one with a physical disability, one with an invisible disability, wheelchair user and invisible, and their experience here in the county and how wonderful it was. But then we also did a video talking to our partners about how important it is to make your business more accessible to everyone, for residents and people coming into the county. So that's been really great. And we had a short promotional campaign that we are extending now with IDA dollars to continue to keep that momentum going with that audience. If you want to look at then page 3, looking at our website, every quarter continues to amaze me. Obviously, the paid promotions drove a lot more folks to our website in Q4, making it the highest that we've ever had. International continues to be strong. UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. Spurred on by our friends at the Decide Blue Sake Brewery, driving a lot of Japanese visitors to our county for the first time. So that's really exciting. We're working with our partners in Cooperstown to capitalize on the Hall of Fame inductions and bring more Japanese people here as one of their native sons gets inducted this summer. So working on partnerships to expand that and create awareness of Dutchess as a destination for those travelers. Our spotlights have been really popular, highlighting prettiest places to dine out, holiday markets, where to cut your tree. I know a lot of our Christmas tree farms got cut out really early this year. So maybe we're too good at our job, but it's become a really popular tradition for locals and visitors from outside the area to come. You see them on the highways with the trees, tied to the tops of their cars. So supporting our local farmers with that. One of the other things that we did this year is we updated our college and now universities page to help parents and families coming in for orientations, parents' weekends, graduations, know what else to see and do in the area. If you skip to page 6, you'll see some of those campaigns that we talked about earlier, all the promotions we did, some of the examples of those things. Page 7 highlights a lot of the international work that we did in this past quarter with 10 marketing campaigns in the UK, Germany, Australia, Switzerland, Netherlands, Belgium, Canada, and the Australia markets. We were able to partner with I Love New York and Brand USA. They did a Nordic sales mission for the first time with our Dutch heritage. We actually get quite a few travelers from that part of the world. And so introducing Dutchess County to that audience was a really positive experience that we had a lot of great questions. People who'd been here before want to know more about our Dutch history and coming here to the Hudson Valley. So that was a great way to capitalize and stretch our dollar further by letting New York pay the bill for stuff. So, we do that as much as we can. We were, again, with I Love New York, hosted Coast FM from New Zealand here with one of their most popular radio stations. And the giveaway they did a road trip starting in New York City, coming up through the Hudson Valley and then the rest of the state. But we had them here for a while and talking about all our attractions. So that was really great. We do a lot of training for tour operators, so travel agents that people use internationally to make sure they're aware and selling Dutchess County with bookable packages when we can. We'll talk about that when we go to the annual report. I'm still continuing to work with group tours. Dawn just got back from the American Bus Association Marketplace, where she meets with bus groups all over the country who come here and, spend a lot of money every night that they stay here in Dutchess County. So when you see those buses at our hotels, be really excited, because that's more than $20,000 coming into our community in every 24-hour period. So that's really good. Continuing to work with our partners there. If we want to skip to the annual report, a lot of this stuff here already in terms of the spending from visitors, the sales tax collected, the savings to homeowners. Again, not only are the taxes contributed by visitors to our county, saving our residents $817, it also saves our residents from having to pay almost $2 million a day to support our businesses that rely on tourists and would not survive without them, and increase the quality of life for those who live here and get to enjoy those as well. When you talk about our web visits, they're up 23% to almost 2.5 million this year coming to our website. International visitors, over 800,000 visitors internationally. And then Artsman Hudson did a number of 169 arts and cultural events attended by almost 30,000 people, generating revenue for local artists and supporting that industry that helps enrich all of us. In terms of films, Dutchess County made up 30% of the locations from 170 productions that happened in the region this summer and this whole year. 23% of all film and TV production spending. Was 12.5 million here in the county, 42% higher than last year. Last year was a low year because of all the strikes. So we're bouncing back, which is really great for us. But just to give you a sense of what that impact looks like, our Q1, 2, and 3 bed tax collection this year was the highest it's ever been. Q4 was not. It was not good. It was not good because it wasn't good, but then it was also because last year, Pretty Little Liars took up 200 hotel room nights in December at one hotel alone last year because they couldn't film in the summer and it got shifted. And so that made their year for them, those film productions, and the people staying in their hotels for that and paying all the occupancy and the sales tax and everything for us. So the film industry is a big deal for us. On page 2 of the annual report, one of the things we've been doing that's generated a lot of eyeballs for us are the number of short form vertical videos and the reels we produce. 74 published on Instagram, driving a lot of that growth and visitation. Video campaigns, we mentioned Wheel the World and some of the others, and showcasing on our YouTube channel. They live there. If you haven't gone, go check it out, please. But then to the bottom right corner, that orange block for CrowdRiff. CrowdRiff is a service that we pay for with funding, and it helps us ask people who are out in our community to use their photos and videos. You get permission to use them. It allows us to create, we have 39 different galleries on our website. So on the history page, there's photos of people enjoying our historic sites. On our agritourism pages, there's people enjoying our farms. The most popular, which is really interesting and exciting, 339% of engagement on those kits, because you can click on them and you can learn more, and it leads you to spotlights and other things to find things to do, is that embrace page. And what that is showcasing our accessibility. It showcases LGBTQ+. It showcases all our different cultural events and activities that we have there. People like to see themselves represented in your advertising, whoever they are. And so you can see that that's the proof in the pudding there, is it drove a lot of engagement for us. So that was really important. Crowdriff is tied into our website, and we use it even in our advertising. We use it on our travel guide. We use it for postcards. We use those images in a lot of different ways. It also creates a lot of goodwill, and people are very proud to have their photos and videos showcased by our team. The next page, page 3, just gives you examples of what some of those videos and posts and things look like, that you can enjoy at your leisure. On page 4, some of those top spotlights. I know you're very excited about the fishing spotlight being #1 last year. I think because there's not a lot out there about fishing, but this year, somehow, we don't quite understand why, but quotes from FDR, #1. I don't know if AI is trolling our site looking for that kind of information or what, but if it generates a lot of interest in the FDR home and library, then we're happy about it. But a lot of great content there that it's driven a lot of eyeballs. On page 5, our public relations efforts have been extensive, using a lot of different tactics, everything from one-on-one meetings and pitches to working with I Love New York's PR firm, MMGY, which is new for them this year, to press releases, to newsletters going out to targeted journalists and media about what's going on in Dutchess County, what's new, looking at different trends. So that 31 million eyeballs, that's still being calculated because we got a lot of good press in December as well. But some of those top articles, and from local to national and international. The next page talks about what some of those different tactics are. Page 7, we talked about Wheel the World. Halfway down the page, that campaign we had with them, over 63,000 views, but the engagement. That audience, the audience of travelers who have disabilities, is very engaged because it's hard for them to find information on what they can go see and do that works for them. And so the platform we have with Wheel the World that measures everything, that takes pictures of everything, that shows what kind of accessibility more than 53 of our properties have, everything from farms to hotels to arts organizations to craft beverage producers, everything. They can see for themselves, is this a good place for me? So that's been a really impactful campaign that we've done with them. You see examples of some of our digital advertising there on page 9. Page 10 looks at some of our different program development, our Finder passes, the 8 passes that you're familiar with, the CIA Chef Finder, the Zen Finder, the Farm Finder, the Sweet Tooth Trail, all of them there. Over 150 businesses in Dutchess County are participating in that program that drives people to their sites. 1,200 pass signups. The purchases there, that's for the craft beverage one. That's the only one that's not free because people go to the sites and they get tastings and pours and flights and things like that. So that one is a paid pass that everyone benefits from financially. So 28 states, people downloaded passes from 4 different countries. People are using our passes when they come here internationally as a way to help them curate their experience because there's so much to do. That this is what I'm interested. Here's how I find how to do that. And so they've been using those passes. For our team's impact in the filming industry, we personally handled 65 different requests from productions, including location services, housing, lodging, crews looking for jobs, other kinds of inquiries that come into our office that we help field and support. We also hosted a panel of film industry experts for the public and businesses to come to learn how to take advantage of this economic driver in our community. So we continue to do that kind of work. At the bottom of that page, Simple View is our cloud-based CRM that we pay with funding from the IDA for. That runs our website. That's the back end of our website. Our partners have access to that. They can update their listings, add photos, put their events on the calendar. It connects to I Love New York's website, so we don't have to duplicate effort putting our listings there. I Love New York is working on having the events do that as well. It started working and then it stopped working, so we're back to square one, but it's helping, and we're working on that with I Love New York. Agritourism, 99 of our spotlights feature different farms and agritourism businesses. The farmers market landing page was revamped to include a numbered map to help people get around. The Farm Finder Ag Adventure Trail there, 15 farms participating, 146 passes downloaded. We continue to work with Valley Table on Hudson Valley Restaurant Week to showcase our chefs. We talked about our Taste Finder Craft Beverage Trail, our CIA Chef Finder. We also supported I Love New York Cider Week to help promote that industry as well. Page 12, we talked about leveraging our partners. We have strong partnerships with I Love New York, Brand USA, the New York State DMO Association. That's the 20 non-governmental tourism offices in the state that work collectively, and we have a large EDA grant that we're using to benefit all of us. We also have that grant with that Beyond the Big Apple. That's the Sullivan Catskills Central New York Duchess for international marketing that we are using there. And so we're using those dollars to help stretch what we do here and have further reach and a greater impact. And you can see on that page how we're doing that. I want to point your attention to the case study on page 13. Looking at just two of our operator campaigns, we had an investment of $4,600 that returned more than $64,000 in room nights booked, which we can track the lodging spend, so we know what they're spending there at those different lodging properties, and then that's an estimated food and beverage spend. We know they got to eat. So it's a good deal, and we continue to try to make the most of the money that we have. The next page shows examples of some of that work. That top image from the old Rhinebeck Aerodrome, that was on train posters in the metro in Hamburg, getting eyeballs while people are just sitting on their morning commutes about soaring the skies over Dutchess County. The next page, more international work, all the 1,300, almost 1,400 travel agents trained, 312 appointments with tour operators to sell Dutchess County to them and let them know what we have here. We attend 4 consumer trade shows a year in New York City, Chicago, Denver, and Washington, D.C., where we get leads and we distribute guides for our partners and for us. And that's really fun because they are people looking to travel. They're there to travel with Trisha because they want to plan a trip. And so it gives us the opportunity to hold some hands, provide inspiration, answer questions. It's a great way for us to connect with travelers. Even in New York City this year, half the people they met said, of course we know where Dutchess County is. We go there a lot, or I've never heard of Dutchess County. So there is still a lot of people to create awareness from. Not everyone knows who we are and just will come. We talked about the American Bus Association. We also partner with New York's Best Experiences. They attend major events with more than 20,000 attendees at each, and they have our brochures there, and then we're also a part of a bigger brochure. So they're taking it places that we can't go, we don't have staff to send us to. The next page, we're talking about Arts Mid-Hudson and the great work they're doing. 169 events, as I mentioned, 35% of their attendees come from outside Dutchess County. So they're really working on events that help drive visitation to the county, as well as serving people who live in our community. Some of their testimonials on page 17, the economic calculator that they use from the Americans for the Arts, in terms of Upstate Films and Star Cinemas, their calculator estimates $290,000 in positive economic impact from the region from the events that they do at Upstate Films. Same with Northern Dutchess Symphony. They've had great reactions to the work that they're doing, driving a lot of attendance, increased subscriptions and ticket sales. You can see their e-newsletters and media release there. Good continued growth for Arts Mid-Hudson. Taking a breath? I know, it's a lot. For the viewers at home. And page 18, continuing with Arts Mid-Hudson, they've started a partnership with Belfield, in a Belfield there to showcase local artists there. They have a 6-month rotating exhibition where people who are visiting can buy the art if they want to. So that's really great. The handmade pop-up shop continues to be popular. 2 times a year they do that around Mother's Day, Father's Day, and then again around the holidays. So in total for both, more than 120 different artists there working and generating revenue from the art that they produce there. It's very exciting. 13% increase from last year in terms of spending there and what the artists were able to collect. On page 20, we have the Hudson Valley Film Commission's report. One of the things that they highlight that's been very helpful is the improved and extended New York State film tax credits. They extended them 2 years to go through 2036. Streamlined faster payouts. It also incentivizes recurring productions. We see a lot of that in Dutchess County. We've seen those Netflix and other streaming series come back again and again. And so that's a great incentive to keep them here because, for instance, when the Sex Lives of College Girls had their opening season 1 here at Vassar College and all around the area, the next year they were out in Washington State. And so getting them to come back was a big win for us. You can see some of those production highlights in the gray box there, including the Four Seasons, which you've heard a lot about most recently with Steve Carell and Tina Fey filming locally in Coleman Domingo this year. We're excited that the movie Sing Sing that we helped with in our office and the Film Commission also get produced. They're up for 3 Oscars, so that's very exciting. Upstate Films had done a screening right when A24 bought the rights to that film. It was just a small indie film when they were here putting it on and needed a lot of help. But A24 picked it up and got it the publicity that it deserves because if you haven't seen it, it's spectacular. It's very, very good film. And so we got to go to that screening. They had a talk afterwards with the man who started this program. It's a prison theater program that's had a great impact on the people who participate and decreasing recidivism exponentially. I think it's like 3% or something like that for people who go through these arts and theater programs. It's very, very low. So that's really exciting for us. You can see 12.5 million direct spending in Dutchess County, 53 million-ish overall throughout the whole Hudson Valley. More than 19,000 room nights, most of them in the Fishkill area. So that's very impactful for those hotels that we have there. The number of production days grew in Dutchess County. Obviously, again, last year was a down year, but we're glad to see that coming back. 49 different locations used throughout the county. 275 film-related jobs created based on those productions for local people. So that's for everything from crew to cast to post-production, all of those things, music, etc. And then different events and then the publicity that they use. If you flip over to page 19, you can see, I flipped too many times. Page 21, that indirect spending, if you look at that, so that 12.5 is direct spending, and they can track that because of the state film tax credits, they have to support reporting for that. But there's beyond that. So everything that those crew are spending at night when they're done with their day or on the weekends, the dining, the restaurants, the gas stations, the grocery stores, Target, all those things, what are they spending money on? Including houses as people move here and they fall in love with our area. You can see that locations for filming: Hyde Park, Stanfordville, Beacon, Fishkill, Wappingers Falls, Hopewell Junction, Town of Poughkeepsie, Red Hook, Rhinebeck, a bunch of the different hotels and places that people stayed at. So benefiting from this film industry that's outside money coming into our community and providing that injection of funding. You can see on the next page is all the different kinds of jobs that are supported by the film industry. It's a lot more than just your cast and crew and your directors, a lot of behind the scenes people making all of this work. That goes on to all the next pages. And so, like I said, there's a lot there to absorb. If you want more details or you want to ask questions, I am here.
Lovely, thank you. Do you think?
I don't love my job at all, It's a pleasure.
So I'm just thinking, combining what you've just been presenting and talking about with, what we do in attracting businesses to locate here in Dutchess County, is there a possibility of a metric that sort of looks at the impact of, you know, investment in arts and, you know, those sort of things, tourism development with the actual attraction to companies who want to invest here?
So that is one of the things that we know is a lot of people that come here that want to bring businesses here have visited first on a leisure trip of some sort. I don't have a way to measure that.
That's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
so I was
that's,
wondering if you'd
there's
come up
no,
with-
there's no way, for
To-
us to, like,
yeah.
so there are, you know.
Other than to ask them.
Other than to ask.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, that's one of the questions that we ask when we, you know, meet with a business that contacts us, is like, how did you find out about Dutchess County? A lot of times they'll say, oh, came here on vacation, or I lived nearby, or I came to camp when I was a little child, things like that, but it's not like measurable.
Yeah.
Like,
Or even my kid went to Marist and we were coming to visit and we're like, wow, we
Yeah.
explored the area and we think this is a good place for
yeah,
us to.
exactly, so,
Well, that whole roundhouse in Beacon, the whole complex.
yeah,
They were from Long Island and came up to graduation at Vassar and Marist.
Yeah.
And they stopped there, saw it, and they moved their family and created that great complex.
yeah, yeah.
Just by
pretty
chance.
amazing.
By chance, yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, Violet Estates too, that developer's daughter went to Marist and came up here visiting and, you know, decided that Dutchess County was a good place to invest. So there are, you know, we often, you know, in both our respective industries, we say tourism is the first date of economic development. So there is a tie that how to measure the economic
You know,
impact of that
as I'm
tie.
thinking about this, I think I do have a research report that talks about that. Let me dig into that because
Yeah.
it's long, but let me see if I can find that nugget because I feel like I saw something, you know, nationwide that has some kind of metric it's attached to that. I also do want to invite you Thursday, April 3rd at the Grandview. We're doing a Tourism Trends Conference where we're going to be having Ross Levi, who's the head of I Love New York, is there. Sarah Lehman, who's the CEO of Zardica, which is our research and data company, is going to be there to present. We did a resident sentiment study, and so the researchers, Longwoods International, is going to be there to share and present that. If you filled out that survey, it was long, I know, but thank you. The 100+ page report that we got back from that is very insightful. A lot of good news. There's regional and national benchmarks on that, and you know, overall, we're above average. Like I would do better, but there are opportunities, and there's things in it that were no surprise to anyone when it comes to how people are feeling about short-term rentals and the mixed feelings there. And you know, most everyone supports tourism growth. They just want to make sure that it's controlled and it's not out of control, and that we're thinking about that in a smart way. And so looking forward to sharing all that information. And we're going to be unveiling our new branding then and celebrating our 10th anniversary as an independent 501c6 organization. So I hope you'll come out on April 3rd. Details.
April 3rd.
So we'll get an invite?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
so I'll have to-
Good time.
But your metrics, I mean, every quarter they just. or
I don't know how
year-over-year,
that
they
happens.
just-
I mean, we're just, I know I have an awesome team and we keep learning. I mean, that's a part of it. We do a lot of continuous training because things keep changing in the media and social media and what tools are out there and how can we best use them. And, you know, the things that work, we keep doing, and the things that don't work, we don't do. And so as we continue to grow and try to do the best we can for all our partners, because we feel very passionate that, you know, the work we do is in service to, you know, all the businesses that rely on visitors area, but also our residents. You know, they need to be happy with it too, and they need to understand the value and the benefits to them individually. So the work you do and any talking to your neighbors that you do and your elected officials that you do is greatly appreciated. It helps us help educate our community.
But like you mentioned, Japan, when we
Yeah.
discussed the sake
Yeah.
deal, did we ever even anticipate tourism dollars coming to that?
think
No,
so.
I don't
On
think
our
so.
metro, on our, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was just saying, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I
They
think
can-
we, you know, that's one of the things where our office is, you know, exploring more and more every year is the foreign direct investment and what that means to us
Yeah.
and, you know, and tourism eventually is these companies come because they want to be, you know, doing business, you know, in the US. And then they bring, their families and their friends come to visit, and it's that real draw. And I think it's going to be a real boom in the summer with now the Cooperstown.
Right.
Doing a joint, market thing, because the beauty is this sake brewery is the only sake brewery to be located on the East Coast.
I thought outside of Japan,
Well, it's their only facility
they're only.
right outside of Japan. There are 4 sake
California.
breweries in the US, and they're all located in California. So, but those are different companies,
Right.
not this particular company, so.
That's great.
So, but also this company is also one of the oldest sake breweries, and they also only work in that very high-end sake space. So while it's easy for us to track, well, not easy, but while we're talking about Japanese visitors, and if you've been to the brewery on a weekend, you'll just be amazed at how many Japanese tourists
A lot.
are there from the city, and it's amazing. But they're also, trying to enter the European market. So they're doing marketing in Europe for this.
That helps.
And that helps. And so you'll see people speaking German.
Because they've seen their
Because they've seen their push for their product out there. So
Promote it as we're going around too. If you haven't been there recently, I was over there a week or two ago. The new displays and education interpretive museum quality that they have put in there now is phenomenal. It's so good. And they really spent the money to do it right. And so, because they have to educate people. A lot of people here don't know about sake and so they've done a really, really good job and continue to expand that educational piece.
Yeah.
But also make it a comfortable place to come and just have a glass of sake and some sushi or whatever.
yeah, and also we're helping our companies also export their products too. So Mulia Winery in Pleasant Valley, the owner is one of the owners is Korean, and the chef there and the manager there is also Korean. So they've been doing some collaborations, pairing wines with Korean food. And they currently do not export their product, but they're interested in exporting their product. So we're working with them on, getting them positioned to, start.
You said in Pleasant Valley?
So it's like Statsburg.
Yeah.
And they're developing Clinton Vineyards. They've taken that over,
Yeah.
so that will.
That's who's doing.
Yeah.
Minutes.
Yeah, so continue to grow and expand what they're doing. Valley Table Magazine is doing a chef's table event there in April with the chef. He's a CIA grad. They're also bringing a chef from Willow and a chef and a pastry chef from Troutbeck to do a big event there this spring. So a lot of really great highlights on our food and craft beverage industry here that continues to bring people. They're doing a partnership. Valley Table is with the James Beard Association, Foundation, whatever it is. But that will bring a lot of people just because of their name recognition alone. So continuing to highlight Dutchess County as that real hub for hospitality and top food and beverage production. It's exciting.
I'm glad you bring up Troutbeck because it's a really different model.
Yeah.
For the county that I like a lot.
Completely resurrected.
Yeah.
Over the past-
Well, brought back the old inn, but they're also looking to do an expansion and, sort of.
Yes.
But it's really a limited expansion.
Yeah.
And I hope that you'll go and visit them and.
Yeah.
So we actually have a
Really
meeting,
good.
we actually have a meeting,
Yeah,
both of us with Troutbeck in the coming weeks to talk about their expansion.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
And we've done a lot of outreach over the years, and I think they like being out in Eastern Dutchess, a little isolated, and
And you'll have the new hotel in Dover,
Yeah.
so,
up that 22 corridor.
yeah.
Their history is extraordinary.
it really
It
is.
is,
And
yeah.
it's actually kind of fun because the Morgenthau Fishkill Farms, going back to sort of grandfathers, connected
Oh, really?
The
Yeah.
original founders.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I know, it's a little bit buried in there, but
Yeah.
it's,
But we're
it's in
gonna,
there.
yeah, so the meeting that's gonna be set up is
Okay.
between Melaine, it's gonna be Melaine and I, and then, Will Tatum, is it Will Tatum?
Will be there too, he's our county
Who's our
historian.
county historian.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be, talking about their expansion and also to highlight the historical significance of Troutbeck. So,
The founding of the NAACP.
Yes, that I knew.
yeah, right there, yeah.
It's really
It's
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also inspiration for,
Emerson.
Emerson
Yeah.
and,
I mean,
yeah.
all those
Yeah.
names, they all came.
Those visionaries and.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Dutchess County's filled with gems.
I know,
Yeah.
one of the
Hidden
challenges.
gems, we gotta exploit them.
We try. One of the challenges that we're having is municipalities wanting to capitalize on adding their own occupancy tax.
Yes.
This is not good for visitors, because they want to put it on top of what the county is collecting. I had some research recently that showed, there were some proposals in Fishkill and the village of Fishkill and the town of Fishkill. We're working with, our state elected officials on that, because if they were allowed to do what they wanted to do, Fishkill hotels, especially the village, would have been the highest tax hotel stay in the entire country
Oh,
at 23+%.
oh,
Higher than New York. New York City is 41 on that list and we would have been number one.
wow.
So, it seems like a good idea to generate revenue from the visitors coming in and not your residents. And I understand the seemingly ease of doing that. But that's a detriment. It's a huge detriment because we're not a convention or a business destination. We're primarily a leisure destination. So people can choose if they come here or not. It's not like there's a business convention they have to be at, so they have to come here and their company's gonna pay for it. These are leisure travelers. And we already hear all over the news about people complaining about rising prices and their wallets, and it would not go well for us, especially for film productions, because we know they're filming at Umbra across the river in Newburgh, because they have year-round sound stages, so they can film 24/7, 365 if they wanted to, but they stay in our hotels. And those bottom lines for those film production budgets are tight. They are trying to micromanage every penny that they spend. And if our hotel stays are too expensive for their crews, they will not just stay somewhere else in the region, they will not come here at all. And so all that extra economic benefit we'll lose, all those jobs we will lose to New Jersey and to Connecticut, and even despite the tax credits for the state, I don't know that it will be enough to make a difference. I shared with you about the December hotel stays and the impact that had on our sales and occupancy tax collection for our hotels. It was not good when we didn't have any films in December for them. It was a low time for them. So being thoughtful about the broad economic impact of decisions is really important. So as I try to continue to educate people, and of course, some trustees and other people campaigned on this and taxing our visitors. And if you ask the question, of course, people are going to say, yes, tax someone else, not me, but not understanding the implications of what that then means. Without those film productions, our hotels would not have survived COVID in the way that they did. Westchester lost so many during that time, and we kept every one of them. And so just thinking more broadly about what are additional impacts that I'm not thinking about before.
Yeah, and
So the room tax, bed tax, county bed tax is just essentially distributed to the towns.
Right.
Anyway, and so.
Well, and they also
know
fund
that?
what we do. We don't get dedicated funding from occupancy tax. A lot of occupancy tax
Right.
throughout the country is dedicated to tourism promotion and then reinvesting it to drive more visitors. And so with the county doing that, the county last year added they were charging 4%. They added an extra 1% that was supposed to be dedicated or is dedicated to the housing trust fund. And I understand that does help workers, it does help people in the hospitality industry, so fine, 1%. But when other municipalities want to add 5% on top of that and then 5% on top of that, that doesn't work. And so apparently what I was led to understand from AJ is that the village of Fishkill is wholly within the town of Fishkill. And so if the village has a 5% and the town has a 5%, then the people have to pay 10 to stay at those properties, on top of the 5 for the county and the state and local sales tax. So it's a bonkers number, and I don't want us to have the repetition for being number one in that area.
Right.
Yeah, there's, yeah, because I think we're number 1 and number 5 as a state. But also realizing too is, these productions, again, like Elaine said, has choice, but also locally because of, Orange County and Ulster County have hotels that are in the queue for development because they've
Yes.
built Umbra, because they have Legoland now. And Ulster County historically has not had a lot of, has a lot of hotel rooms because Rhinebeck
Yes.
and Red Hook don't have hotel rooms. And because there's more tourism in Rhinebeck has driven demand in Ulster County. So there are other hotels being built, within a close region that if in Fishkill historically has been film production, and off of 84, we have truck drivers. And
I talked to Judy about that, the High House. She said very, very little of her business is that.
Yeah.
Like a tiny, infinitesimal amount.
so, but also construction, we have a
Yes,
lot of construction,
yes, for that,
construction
for
workers,
sure.
yeah. So, but that may shift,
Right.
because now they can just go 3 or 4 miles across the
Yep.
bridge and stay, so.
Well, and if they stay there, then they're not paying the bridge tax
Yeah.
to cross back and forth every day, or the toll that it is.
The tolls.
Yeah.
And they complain about that.
Yeah.
So.
So those are things, that are factors, yeah.
So do you want to do your presentation?
Yeah.
I just want, there is a hotel development in Rhinebeck that wants to come in north of the 9G intersection. That would be, I can't remember, if it's 50 or 60 rooms. I want to say 60 rooms, but more moderately priced. So not a luxury property, but a place that, families could come if they're coming to the fairgrounds events or Bard College families or other things, but something that's more affordable than what's currently there, and would help us keep people from leaving the county and spending their money elsewhere. So we're in support of that. That comes in front of the planning.
It's a pretty open site.
Yeah, yeah, it is in next month. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Peter, if you can put up the IDA annual presentation, and while Peter puts up the annual presentation, I'm going to talk about fourth quarter. And always, after Elaine, it's like wonk wonk. It's not quite as fancy as Elaine. But fourth quarter, we finished fairly strong. In our business attraction, we finished with 59 requests for information for sites in Dutchess County. In fourth quarter, 17 inquiries came in. We attracted 2 businesses. This includes IDA projects, and I'll talk about that more when I go into the IDA. Which those 2 projects equated about $51 million in new investment to the county, and they will create 152 jobs. That includes construction jobs. We didn't attend any trade shows in fourth quarter. We usually attend those trade shows early in the year, first and second quarter, and then continue to work on those 2 properties that we identified in third quarter to market them for sale. So that's basically it. We did one thing to talk about is that there were some RFIs that we didn't respond to. In the past, the RFIs that we didn't respond to were sites that I think nowhere in New York State could accommodate. They were looking for like 1 million acres or, really large, like what we call in the industry mega sites. But the mega sites, we're seeing a trend downward on mega sites. There aren't quite as many demand for mega sites. So therefore, we were able to respond to a lot of the RFIs that we received. In terms of business retention and expansion, we conducted 14 site visits in fourth quarter. We provided 48 technical assistance to businesses and referred them to 81 of our partners. We did, in the end, perform a little bit lower in our business counseling, and that's because of third quarter. We do our business technical assistance in partnership with the Women's Enterprise Development Center, and they had some staff issues during that time. So we carried the majority of the technical assistance, so that's why our numbers are a little bit lower at year end on that. But in terms of our marketing, did very well. We, advertised in 4 target publications. We sent out 3 press releases, fourth quarter, one of them being a year-end performance, and then some announcements that we had. They did very well through our digital media, so we didn't end up having to boost them through using PR Newswire. That's a paid service to boost your press releases. So because they did so well, we ended up not having to pay to boost our press releases. And then we didn't have any good news reactive. We had no bad news to have reactive press releases that year.
So can I ask a question? So you have a line, LinkedIn post for Sarah.
Yes.
So is that like how does that?
So those are posts,
appear?
yeah, so those are
post-
posts that appear on my LinkedIn feed. That is to help promote Think Duchess as a thought leader in
Right.
the space. They're often reposts of our general posts. So we send out a general post and then we just change the wording a little bit. So it comes from my point of view of those posts. And so those are posts that, and we've been getting good traction on that. Which also results in me being invited to other events to often be a speaker or a participant,
Right.
a visible participant. So that's working very well.
Especially with your recognition.
Yeah. So
It's true.
So we found in fourth quarter our strongest social media channel is LinkedIn, which makes sense because that's where site selectors and industrial users tend to be.
Yeah.
We have kind of lifted the pedal a little bit on what we call our lifestyle channels, which is Instagram and Facebook. Part of that is because of housing inventory and the lack of housing inventory. So we don't want to, while we want to promote Dutchess County as a good place to live, that's essential to our message. We want to be very like a balanced approach of helping, attracting those people and we don't want to attract people here and then they're like, we have no place to live.
Yeah, frustration.
And then, frustration and then build bad like fellowship. So we've kind of lifted our foot off the pedal on that. So continue to do blog and LinkedIn articles. And we did an SEO optimization study earlier this year, which has paid off in increased visits to our website.
Yeah, I think it matters. It makes a big difference.
Yes. So, and then worked on some, in third quarter, we finished our, we did some, updated our collateral on that, So our IDA projects that we finished, we closed on in fourth quarter, that was Harlem Valley Homestead and a Eastdale, 1822 Eastdale. Those were the 2 projects that we closed on. Which then again, as I said before, equated 51 million in new investment to the county. On the LDC side, very quiet, no bonds this year due to the high interest rate. So I'm going to go on to our annual report. So any questions about fourth quarter? So our annual report. Peter, can you put it in presentation mode? Or just go to the next slide. Right, you'll see the next upcoming sign. But so, as I said before, in 2024, we attended 8 trade shows, which I think boosted our request for information in our third and fourth quarter. As you see, we had a total of 59 inquiries for sites in Dutchess County. We attracted businesses that created 638 new jobs in Dutchess County and finished the year with $150 million in new capital investment. Next slide. For business retention expansion, we had a very good year. We helped 4 businesses get their MWBE certifications, 76 site visits. We provided technical assistance to 156 unique businesses and made 272 referrals to our partners, including Dutchess Tourism, Chamber, WEDC, the Workforce Investment Board, the manufacturing technical assistance. So we are a really good marketing and referral source for our partners. Next slide, Peter. As I mentioned before, we publicized in several publications, including Site Selector Magazine, Business Facilities. Business Facilities also, I'll mention it later, is we got an award earlier this year, or last year, from them, but you can see samples of our updated collateral. These are sheets that reside on our website, but also printable that we can share with site selectors when we go to trade shows. So it's an update on what we have available here. Next slide. Our website and social media continue to improve. Our, the SEO study really did a tremendous change, just changing our words and actually, focusing it on a little bit of what AI searches for and including spelling errors. So, so we had to, you don't see it on our website, but like on the back end, like for example, instead of saying New York State, there's State New York. So, and things like that, that's like a common search thing. And so when we saw it, because we would take a look at the list of acceptable words, and then a couple times I'm like, that's not spelled correctly, or that's in the wrong order, and they're like, oh no, that's how people will put it in. And so weird. Yeah, so we were like, okay, then that's what we'll do. So, but that has resulted in an increased visit to our site, as well as longer time spending on our site as well, which is important, meaning that the information we have on our website is informative. Again, our social media improves year after year. Our greatest improvement is on our LinkedIn site. Next slide. In terms of awards and recognitions, we had our Business Excellence Award in November. That was very well attended. And then again, I mentioned earlier in 2024, we got an award from Business Facilities for a mid-size economic development organization. And the final slide is just a summary of the IDA and LDC projects that we did in 2024. So these should all, bring back memories. So 2 Cross, which is the 18 affordable units in Beacon, Mirabel Beacon, Harlem Valley Homestead, the resort based on farm living, and then the BARD bond to finance the expansion of the Performing Arts Lab at the college. So that's what we did. We were busy in 2024. Any questions?
So the BARD was bonds this year then?
So we actually
Oh, that's
did it as
right.
a,
Yeah.
approved it as a
Two-phase, yeah.
two-phase bond in 2023. But and the dormitories, residents, we closed at the end of 2023. But BAR 2024 did not close until January, so we don't technically count them until they've closed with us, so.
Have they started construction?
So they have started construction. Yeah, so, and it's going well.
Would you say the dorms will be done this year?
So the dorms are slated to be completed by July of this year.
Next year is
And
the
then,
theater.
correct, correct. So yeah.
And Harlem Valley, that's great that you got it closed and.
So yeah, so Harlem Valley, they hope to, they're already buying materials for construction and
Two Cross has their foundation and Marabou's,
yeah,
looks like they're going full
they're going
guns.
for, yeah, so all, all doing well, so.
Great.
Good.
Okay. Right.
I don't know if you want to adjourn the IDA meeting for now?
Yeah, because we need to make a vote for the resolution. We can adjourn this IDA meeting and.
And I would say to adjourn the IDA meeting for now and then wait on the LDC meeting, because everything on the LDC meeting requires a vote.
Okay.
So we're gonna reopen. Are we recording?
Yes, now we're
Okay.
recording
We're
and,
reopening the IDA meeting. Do we need to take a roll call to reopen? I
Yes,
think we probably
yes.
do, yeah.
Let's see, Mark Doyle,
Yeah,
Kathy Bauer,
Here.
Amy Monaghan,
Here.
Jane Picone.
Here.
okay, so, we're going to look at the resolution for authorizing Sarah to enter into agreement with Duchess Tourism for professional services.
so this is our annual contract for services. Earlier, during the presentation portion of the meeting, Melaine gave her presentation, so this is just a continuation of it. The value of the contract is 250,000? No.
425.
425. 425. Sorry. We're gonna cut you in half. 400, yeah. 425.
Right.
Yeah. 50 Elaine's coming at my house and TPing it.
So we have,
Well, I know it won't be egged.
we have the text of the agreement in front of us. And does anybody have any questions on it? Board,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
excellent. And Jasmine will take the roll.
Jane Picone,
Approved.
Amy Monaghan,
Approved.
Kathy Bauer.
Approved.
Mark Doyle.
Approved. Thank you. Okay.
You.
And then, we've done the presentation, so now we're going to approve or consider and approve a resolution authorizing Executive Director Sarah to enter into agreement with the Dutchess County LDCs for professional services. And that,
200,000.
100,000.
that's the 200,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Is there any other? I don't think there is any. This is what we do. Yeah, for.
The LDC and the IDA have a contract for administrative services. It's not the county's 250,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
All right. So I'll take a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
And Jasmine will take the roll.
Jane Picone,
Approved.
Amy Monaghan,
Approved.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle.
Approved. All right. And then,
The minutes.
oh, we have not approved the minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
No, we did.
We did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
We did
yeah,
right at the
we did at the
Oh, we
very
did? Okay,
beginning.
sorry.
We did the report of the treasurer.
Yes.
We did the report of the treasurer and the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
all right.
yeah. we
We're all
approved
done.
that.
Okay,
And then
sorry.
we went on. Very good, so we
Okay.
can close
Adjourn.
or adjourn the IDA meeting.